A study from the University of Michigan tracked empathy levels in American college students for over 30 years. What they found wasn't a dip, it was a collapse. Empathy dropped 48%, almost half. We are measurably, provably, less capable of caring about each other than we were a generation ago. And the scary part is that most people don't even notice. Because empathy didn't disappear overnight. It was engineered out of us. Before we go any further, let's get something straight. Empathy isn't about being nice. It's not sympathy. It's not feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is the ability to step outside of your own experience long enough to understand someone else's. To look at another person and think, I don't have to agree with you, but I'm willing to see where you're coming from. For most of human history, we didn't have a choice. We lived in small communities. We saw each other's pain up close. If your neighbor was struggling, you knew because you were right there. Empathy wasn't some virtue you posted about online. It was survival. But something shifted, and it didn't shift slowly. In the span of about 20 years, we went from a society that at least tried to understand each other to one that treats understanding as weakness, where the loudest voice wins, where nuance is suspicious, where judgment is instant, permanent, and celebrated. So what happened? How did we get here? Social media didn't create the empathy crisis, but it threw gasoline on it. Here's how it works. Every platform you use, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, all of them, runs on one thing: engagement. The algorithm doesn't care if you're happy. It doesn't care if you're informed. It cares if you're watching. And the fastest way to keep you watching is to make you react. Not think, react. Outrage keeps you watching. Fear keeps you watching. Judgment keeps you watching. You know what doesn't keep you watching? Empathy. Understanding someone's complexity doesn't generate clicks. Reducing them to a villain does. So, over time, the algorithm trained us. It taught us that people are either heroes or villains, that every situation has a clear right side and a clear wrong side, that the appropriate response to someone's worst moment is to record it, post it, and let the internet decide their fate. Think about that for a second. We've built a system that literally rewards us for withholding empathy. Every like, every share, every comment on someone's worst day reinforces the idea that people don't deserve understanding, they deserve judgment. And the more we practice judgment, the worse we get at empathy. Because empathy is a muscle. If you don't use it, it diminishes. That study from Michigan proves it. We're not choosing to be less empathetic. We're being conditioned. But here's where most people stop the analysis. They blame the algorithm and move on. That's too easy. Because the empathy crisis isn't just about technology, it's about something much more uncomfortable. Somewhere along the way, we turned self-preservation into a philosophy. And I'm not talking about healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries are necessary. What I'm talking about is the cultural shift that rebranded selfishness as self-care, that told people they don't owe anyone anything, that taught an entire generation that protecting your peace means never being uncomfortable, never being challenged, and never sitting with someone else's pain long enough to actually feel it. Here's the problem with that. Empathy is uncomfortable by definition. To empathize means to feel something that isn't yours. It means setting your ego down long enough to consider that your perspective might not be the only valid one in the room. And in a culture that worships the self, that feels like a threat. Look at how we talk about people now. When someone makes a mistake, the first response isn't, "What happened to them?" It's, "That's not my problem." When someone is struggling, it's not, "How can I help?" It's, "They should have made better choices." We replaced compassion with commentary, and we feel righteous about it. And this is where the mirror effect comes in. The people who are quickest to judge are almost always the ones most afraid of being judged themselves. Ego doesn't just block empathy, ego projects. When you see someone fail and your first instinct is to tear them apart, that's not strength, that's a reflection. Your own fear that one day you could be the one on that screen. We project our insecurities onto strangers because it's easier than examining them in ourselves. Pride tells us we're better than the person we're judging. Ego tells us their failure could never be ours. But deep down, we know the truth. And that's the mirror most people refuse to look into. So what does it actually cost us when empathy dies? More than most people realize. The US Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic. Not a concern, not a trend, an epidemic. The health impact of chronic loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from feeling unseen, from living in a world full of people who are not willing to understand you. When empathy declines, trust collapses, and we see that everywhere. Trust in institutions is at historic lows. Trust in media. Trust in each other. Pew Research found that only about 30% of Americans believe most people can be trusted. That number used to be nearly double. And here's the cycle nobody talks about. When trust collapses, people get more defensive. When people get more defensive, they judge harder. When they judge harder, empathy drops further. When empathy drops, trust collapses even more. It feeds itself. A downward spiral that no app update or policy memo can fix. Because this isn't a technology problem. It's a human problem. And it requires a human solution. Now this is the part where most channels would give you a list. 5 steps to fix empathy, 10 habits of empathetic people. I'm not going to do that. Because empathy isn't a productivity hack. You can't optimize your way into caring about another human being. But here's what you can do. The next time you see someone's worst moment online, a public meltdown, a bad take, a mistake caught on camera, you have a choice. You can do what the algorithm wants: react, judge, share, and scroll. Or you can do something harder. You can pause and ask yourself one question. What would I want someone to think about me in my worst moment? That's the mirror. That's the whole thing. Not a grand societal overhaul, not a 12-step program. Just a pause. A willingness to consider that the person on your screen is a full human being with a story you don't know, a history you haven't lived, and a bad day that doesn't define them. Empathy isn't dying because people are broken. It's dying because we've built systems that reward us for acting like we are. The question is whether you're brave enough to fight those systems, starting with the one between your own ears. If this made you think, subscribe to The Mirror Effect. Every video on this channel holds a mirror up to how we treat each other and asks the questions most people are too comfortable to ask. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. When is the last time someone showed you real empathy? Not surface-level politeness, real empathy. What did it feel like? I'll see you in the next one.